Hello. Today we're going to make a wipes case, and I'm starting with just the normal Huggies wipes case. Two pieces of fabric, a front and a back, which is approximately 8 by 5 inches. Glue gun, some scissors, and whatever ribbon you would like to use. I have a few options here. So we're going to start by putting a very small line right here on the lid. I always start with the back by where the hinge is, just because that's what I've always done. I just put a small line in the middle to attach it first so I can make sure it gets straight and even on there. And just kind of push on that. Then I'm going to do another small line all the way across here. You want to make sure it's lined up perfectly with the lid so there's no overhang, and you don't want it to be up too high either to where you can see the white underneath it. Your line doesn't have to be perfect though. You really just don't want the fabric hanging over the end because you're going to be covering that up anyways. And cut the loose string so you don't have those hanging out everywhere. Alright. Then of course using hot glue, it dries pretty fast, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Okay, and then with the front, you're going to do the same way we did on the back, just a small line to begin with, right over the clasp. You're going to pull it tight and press down firmly so it sticks well. You want it to be pretty tight so that there's no wrinkling or any looseness in there. Then just do the same thing. Do each side of the front. Pull it tight and press down firmly. Pull it tight, press down firm. Now for the ends, I just do this part and then do the corners so that the corners will be really flat and straight so you don't get a bunch of wrinkling. You pull it and then hold down so it sticks really well. And then you're going to do the other side the same way. And you just need a really thin line of glue for this. You don't want a lot of lumps and things underneath your fabric. It's going to make it look really messy. Okay, and then I do the corners. And you're going to want to pull down on this and make sure there's no wrinkling. If there's wrinkles, just pull on the area where there's wrinkles. You want it to be really neat. Okay. I'll give that just a second to make sure it's dry all the way. Then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to trim all of the excess fabric off. And the number one tip I can give you is get a really good pair of scissors, because it makes cutting material so much easier. You don't get all the choppy lines. Okay. So, piece right here. Okay, now my second tip for you. I started doing this and it made a huge difference in the appearance. I take my glue gun, wipe off any of the glue around the nozzle. I just kind of wipe it on the board I'm using. Then you're going to take it and go around the edges and smooth out any of the glue and push down all of the edges of the fabric, and it takes out all of those clumps and makes everything look really even and nice. So I'm going to do this part because it's a little time consuming, and I'm going to put the back on the same way we did with the front, and then I'll be back with the second video. Okay, so now we have finished the front and the back, and we have sealed the edges to where they are nice and neat, no wrinkles or bumps or clumps or anything like that. After you do that, you're going to want to open it up and make sure there's no glue strings hanging around. So you don't want to give it to somebody and then them open it and it looks sloppy either. Okay, so our next part is going to be attaching our decorative ribbon. I'm using a black ribbon, and I'm going to place it like that. And I'm going to use hot glue on the ends and Mod Podge for the middle, because these silky ribbons do not do well with hot glue. So you're going to want to seal your ends first with a lighter. Okay, and then choose where you want your ribbon. I'm going to do mine towards the bottom. So just glue the end of your ribbon. Then you're going to glue it on to the wipes case. Make sure you push down. You don't want it to be clumpy. Okay. And then if you just kind of hold it straight across, you can see, you know, where you want it. Now you're going to want to make sure you get this pretty straight. You don't want it to look sloppy. So what we're going to do is take out the Craft All Mod Podge. And we are just going to put a layer on the back of our ribbon. The reason why everyone loves Mod Podge is because it dries clear. So it doesn't really matter how neat you are with it because it's going to dry clear either way. Okay, now make sure you do this very carefully so you get it straight across. Just kind of rub your finger across it. Okay. And then you're going to add, be very careful because the glue is still drying, but add a little bit of hot glue right here to hold it in place. Okay. Then you're gonna trim off any excess ribbon. Now for the fun part. You're going to Mod Podge the top of the ribbon to make sure it stays in place. And just a thin layer. You already did the bottom, so you don't need a whole lot of Mod Podge here. Okay, now we're going to give that a few minutes to dry, and then we'll be back to do the edges. Okay, so the ribbon has dried. It takes about 15 minutes to dry completely. So now we're going to do the outside ribbon. It goes across here. I've already done the bottom one, so I'm going to show you how to do it on the top now. I didn't have enough of this ribbon, so I'm just going to turn it over and use the solid black side. You're just going to start with a little bit of glue right in the middle, and then press this firmly up against the edge. You don't want to be able to see any of the material on the edge. Just like that. Thank you. Now you're going to do a line, and then you're going to kind of swirl it around to make it thicker. And now you're just going to go all the way around doing that. Do a straight line, and then swirl the glue around to make it thick so it'll cover the whole ribbon. There you go. Thank you, baby. Now the corners are going to be kind of tricky. You're going to want to kind of pull it tight so it comes out even. And don't forget to kind of push the ribbon along as you're pushing it down. Kind of push it forward so it makes a nice straight, so there's no loose pieces. And make sure you don't overlap the actual lid. You don't want your ribbon hanging down further than the lid. And it's okay if it's not perfect, because we're going to go back through and do the edges like we did with just the fabric piece. Okay, and then glue your seam. You're going to cut it. And then seal your edge. Alright, now wipe all the glue off of the nozzle of your gun. And then you're going to do like we did in the beginning with just the fabric. You're going to go around the edges and push down. See how it's kind of lumpy? Well, we're going to make it not lumpy. You're just going to hold it down until all of the bubbles are pushed out of it. Okay. Now just do that all the way around, and we'll be back to decorate the front. Okay, so now that we have finished doing all of our edges, we have the trim and the ribbon, top and bottom. Last thing there is to do is add our accessories, whatever we want on the front. I'm using a fabric yo-yo. I'll add the link below if you want to find out how to do that. Just add some hot glue and stick it on. And you have your finished wipes case.